In this video, we're looking at how to use the Finance Solver function on your CAS. So first thing you need to do is go into the calculator mode, and go into Menu, Finance, and Finance Solver. And as you can see, there's multiple tabs that you need to fill out, and each of them has a little title next to it. So your first step is to know what each of these sections mean on the Finance Solver. So let's have a look at that together. So here we're looking at all of the symbols that are used in the Finance Solver, starting with N. N stands for the total number of payments. I, and I is in percentages, is the annual interest rate. The key here is that it's the annual interest rate, not monthly or quarterly. And PV stands for present value, so how much the investment is like at that time. And PMT stands for payment, so how much amount is paid each every time you make a payment. FV stands for future value, so how much it's worth in the future after a certain period of time. PPY stands for payment per year. CPY is how many times the interest is compounded per year. So if it's compounded quarterly, for example, there will be 4. If it's monthly, it'll be 12. PMTAT is to determine whether interest is compounded at the end or at the beginning. Usually it's at the end in most scenarios that we deal with, so we just set it at end. Another thing you have to note is that when we use the Finance Solver, if we're receiving money, or then we put that value as a positive value. Whereas if we're paying someone or paying the bank, we're putting in money into an investment, we put it as a negative value on the Finance Solver. All right, let's look at some examples together. So in this example, Lars invests this much at this rate. So we're given some information, and as we read, we can note which of the Finance Solver section that this will go into. So what you're starting with, how much you're putting in, is the present value, and then this will be annual interest rate, so this is I, and then we have this compounding every month. So this means that our payment per year, or our compounding per year, they're both going to be 12. It's happening 12 times every year. And then he makes a regular deposit of $500 per month into the account. This means that we are making payment, PMT, to the bank every month of $500. And we're asked to find the value of the investment after 5 years. So we're looking for the future value of this investment. So that's what we're looking for. So we just now have to put this information into the CAS. So under N, we've got, we're looking at the total number of payments. So it gets paid out every month. And then we're looking at 5 years. So we're doing 12 times 5, which is going to be 60. And the annual interest rate is given to us at 5.5. Our present value is $500,000. Now, because that's the money we're putting into the bank, we're not making that money. We're in a way losing that money and putting it into the bank. So it's a negative value on the Finance Solver. So make sure you put negative 500,000. And then payment is 500 per month. Also, that's money we're losing. Like we're losing in terms of it's coming out of the bank account. So it's negative 500. And future value is something we don't know. So we just leave this one as blank. And payment per year is 12. Oops. Then if we go down, yep, that's 12. That's set to end. So now we just press enter. We put a cursor on future value and press enter. It gives us the future value that we're looking for. So in this case, it's going to be this much, and we want to round this to the nearest cent. So we're looking at 2 decimal places. So you just simply copy that value here, and it's in dollars, 692,292.30. All right, let's look at the next example together as well. So it says Mingja puts $20,000 into a compound interest investment where interest compounds monthly. So compounding monthly. So from here, we can already tell that our present value is this, and we've got our compounding monthly bit. So we know our PY is 12, happening 12 times every year. And the next bit of information says she adds $50 per month, so that's going to be our payment, so PMT. And then she wants her investment to reach this much in 10 years. So here we're given the future value. So this is our future value that we want. And we know this has to happen in 10 years. Because it's happening every month, in 10 years, our number of payments is going to be 120. So that's 12 times 10. And here we're asked to find the annual interest rate. So we're actually looking for I this time. So now that is all done, you go onto your CAS and put in these values. So for our N, we have 120. For our I, we have nothing. So we leave this one as blank. That's what we're looking for. We have PV as 20,000, but again, it has to be negative 20,000. And payment has to be negative also. It's 50 per month. And our future value is 40,000. And our PPY is 12. Oops. And that's all. So now we go on to I. Press enter. It tells us the interest rate that this has to be in order for this scenario to work out. So I is 4.81%. All right, this last example says Winston puts $20,000 into an investment, paying 5.1% interest per annum. So we know that this is our present value. This is our interest rate. And it says it compounds monthly. So we know that our payment per year is 12. And the first part of the question asks us to find if wants to investment be worth at least this much in 5 years, what is the minimum that he will need to add? So we are asked to find, well, how much are we adding? So what is the PMT? And we're given N, which is 5 years, but it's happening monthly. So it's 12 times 5, which is 60. And we know this is the future value that we're trying to achieve. We're trying to get to this $40,000. All right, now once you have all this information, you just put this into the CAS. So we've got our N equaling 60. We've got our I is 5.1. present value is negative 20,000. And payment, we don't know. We're looking for the payment, so leave it blank. Future value, we want it to be 40,000. Payment per year is 12. And that's 12. Perfect. So now we go on payment, press enter. It gives us this. So we know that for question A, what we're looking for is roughly 208.34 cents of regular payment. And the next part of the question, part B, asks us to find if we're making $1,000 payment every month, then how many months does it take for the investment to triple in value? So, well, if it triples in value, our future value is going to be triple our present value, which is 20,000. So it's 60,000 is our new future value. Now we know payment now is $1,000 every month. What we don't know is how many month, nope, not this one, how many month that we need to do this for. So we don't know N, but we know everything else. So we need to change a few things here. Present values, N is something we don't know now. I is the same, present value is the same. Payment we know is now 1,000. Future value, we want it to be 60,000. And this is still 12. And all 12, it's all good. So go on to N and press enter. Then we know it's going to take this many months. So 34.32. This means roughly 35 months that it takes